Hi everybody, I have no idea if you can see me or only see my screen. So- oh, I have no idea. So let me know. I would love to see some faces today. All right. Get started. All right. So I want to I don't know if I can reshare my screen if I turn it off, so I don't even know if you can see me. I will pretend that you can. So feel free to leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, give a little reaction just so I know that you're there, and I don't know if you can see me. But I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about the program that I'm launching in August, and it's going to have cohorts running at least quarterly. If not, we'll see how popular it gets. But this program is really what I've done with my own self and things that I have learned since I went to the school for the Institute for Integrative Nutrition of New York City. I did it long distance, so I did it through distance ed. And when I took that course, the reason I took it was because I was having so many unexplained, undiagnosed health problems. I just didn't know where to turn or what was right. And I found that by changing some lifestyle things, I was able to start having incremental change. And I was starting to make some progress where now I live virtually pain free. I don't have many migraines anymore, and they used to be daily, if not twice a day. I'm on much less medication and so on, so on, so on. So lots of things. But also, I'm happy and my life is taking a great direction. And I have used the concepts of this program with individuals and coaching before with great success. People have been able to find their purpose, their path, get really excited about life again. Not that life is perfect or there aren't challenges or things that go wrong still. Of course there is. This is life. But the capability to handle some of these things gets much easier, which is really nice. It's almost like, I always joke, it's sort of like life uses a little bit of lubricant. It makes things a little easier. So but often when we're sort of stuck in ruts or we've been going a long time and just sort of maybe we've even accepted that this is just the way my life is, whether we're happy with it or not. I was going somewhere with that, and that's my ADHD. It can be hard to pinpoint what it is that we need to change. And I think there's fundamental building blocks to life, and we're often told to only focus on certain things like career and health and career and health and produce and be productive and be moving. And there is a whole other side to life, which includes rest and joy and creativity. And we need them just as much. They make a big difference in people's lives. So that's sort of like the capitalistic dream, right? Of, of like, yeah, if you're making money and you have a good job and you have a nice house and all the things, then you're doing great. And those things are lovely to have. Life is definitely easier with money and choices, but they're not the only things we need. And sometimes we have to fix other things in order to substantially keep those things in our lives. So I wanted to create a simple program that would teach people the building blocks to being happy. And the reason I call this wholeness coaching instead of wellness or well-being coaching or health coaching is because so many programs out there want you to stop doing things, lose things, cut off parts of yourself, lose weight, lose bad habits, lose the negative thinking. And I don't believe we need to do that. I don't believe we need to cut away who we are or fundamentally release pieces of ourselves. I think we need to embrace ourselves more than anything else. The world is always trying to cut us apart, but if we can keep ourselves together and love ourselves through our natural human reactions to hard things in life, we're going to do much better instead of beating ourselves up. It's just the way it is. So I had to learn how to love myself wholly the way I am, and I don't mean wholly Holy, I mean WHOL, like whole person, before I could really start to see progress in all the areas that I wanted to see progress in, and honestly to have energy and feel great and all these things. So the program is called Realign and Realive, and what it is a way to sort of set your compass and be like, am I on track? Am I living the life that I want to live? Is my behavior matching my values? Am I happy? Am I enjoying? Am I having more good days than bad days? Is my quality of life the way I thought it would be? And then Realive is, am I stuck in a rut? Do I feel like I'm only sort of half awake or comatose, or, you know, the best part of my day is sort of disassociating on the couch at the end of the day? Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Ottawa last week for work, for contract, and I I have many friends in Ottawa that I haven't seen in a long time, and I had dinner with one, and I was going to be early and she was going to be a little bit late, and she was like, when she got there, she's like, I'm so sorry, I was just scared that you were going to be sitting here for 15 minutes just minding your own business or like twiddling your thumbs. And I'm like, 15 minutes is nothing. I can disassociate much longer than that very easily. So it's yeah, when you're peaceful, it doesn't matter where you go or where you be, you're peaceful. As another example, I used to get very frustrated and tense, and that is something that I'm still working on. I don't have a lot of patience. And today, my computer, I was trying to do this live about an hour ago. My computer decided to give me the blue screen of death, and it's a brand new computer. And I was like, I could feel the natural, like, oh, I don't have time for this today. And I just took some deep breaths, and I thought, you know what, it's going to be what it is. Let's give it another reboot. Let's give it a couple tries, see what happens. Let's look at the troubleshooting, and let's just go step by step. And if we can't fix it, then off we'll go to the computer fixer store. And luckily enough, it did finally start up on its own and seems to be working lovely now. So fingers crossed. I do have a backup computer too, which helps. So that calmness has been such a great way to live my life, because some of you know I had a brain injury a couple of years ago from COVID, and anxiety and panic was the #1 symptom of long COVID. And so everything would make me anxious. Everything would make me afraid. Everything was like a big deal to overcome, a hurdle, just getting dressed, picking out clothes, all these things. So now to handle some even more delicate topics or more like urgent issues with a little bit of grace for myself has been huge, huge progress. But I don't want to talk about just about me. I want to talk about you. So Realign and Realive. So I'm going to be looking at this screen. Sorry, I apologize. Oh, no, I don't have to. Woohoo! So if you go to my website, risethrive.ca, there is a program breakdown. Another funny story. So in the group earlier, I put a note saying, if you have any questions you'd like me to answer in the Q&A or that you think others might want to know, please put them in. And a couple friends put in questions to ask, sort of just like rapid fire. And I responded by going, yeah, you can find that on my website. And I'm like, Chrissy, you asked them to ask questions so you would have questions to answer in the Q&A. But I had already forgotten that. That's how my brain works. And I was like, yeah, here's the information. Is it hard to find? And so anyway, so I apologize, Michelle and Danielle. Thank you for supporting my group and just being great friends. All right, so the program breakdown. How it works is I love helping people feel more like themselves. I want them to feel maximum themselves, the maximum amount of time. And the program itself will teach you a variety of tools between feeding yourself with non-food nourishment and other wonderful things that you can flourish wherever you are, whenever you are somewhere, wherever you are. It's not about making the big changes. It's about recharging our intuition. It's about learning to silence the noise around us and hear the little voice inside of us again and start to trust it. And over time, we influence positive change. And that's why this is a 6-month program. So some people are like, oh, it's a big commitment. Yes, it is a time commitment. It's not a lot of time. It's only about 3 hours a week of sessions. Sorry, 3 hours a month of sessions. A month, 3 hours a month. Two group coaching sessions, and you get one individual session with me as well throughout the program, so you can get very specific guidance and ask very specific questions about how to implement some of the tools and strategies that we go through. But it also gives you time to practice. So every coaching session will come with exercises and things that you can put into place that are very easy, and they will help you support yourself in a meaningful way where you are actually integrating the things that you learn. That's the hardest part. Sometimes we're so eager to learn, but it's the application of the knowledge. And that's why there is time in between, and that's why there are so many touch points within the month with myself and with the other participants, because that's the practice it takes, and we all learn together. And you are going to find your own way of implementing the tools. You're not going to do it exactly the way I do. You're not going to do it exactly like the other person in the course. Everyone is going to have their own way to make the methodology work for them that has meaning for their life. This is really about empowering you. I just remember a few years ago, like many years ago, just thinking, I just want to feel alive again. Like, I just feel like, ugh, why can't I get out? Why can't I? And yeah, now I get to help other people do that, and that makes me super happy. So the things that you're going to get, and you've probably seen the posts on in the group and on the Facebook and on the Instagram. I've put out some posts recently about what the actual outcomes are. So the first one is clarity and direction. So just to get the fog out of our eyes, to get the trauma, the scar tissue out of our faces, and start to really understand ourselves again. What are our core values? What is our purpose? What goals do we want to have while learning the strategies that can align you with your desires? And that's where we have guidance, accountability. And accountability is not like guilt and shame. Don't need more of that. It is encouragement, empowerment, and it is truly about coaching you so that you can find the answers that your little voice inside of you already knows. That's the cool part, is you realize, like, you know so much already, my little inner buddy, and yours does too. To have that inner peace and resilience. So I always say, like, I don't want to be kerfuffled, and so no kerfuffling. So that inner peace, that resilience, which is a pretty big buzzword right now, but we teach some very specific techniques for mindfulness, even meditation, emotional intelligence training, holistic self-care, which means self-care that isn't just about bubble baths and spots and candles. It takes in your whole human experience. And we reframe those perspectives. We build supportive communities, and we empower you to have a greater emotional balance and well-being. So it takes a lot more to knock you off your blocks. And if you do get knocked off your blocks, you have a lot of safety nets to help keep you in the game. Empowerment and confidence. One of my every year I set an intention, and this year my intention was to be seen. Because for a long time, that's something I still struggle a little bit with, is realizing that I do have gifts and contributions and I can help people. And so I would always shine the spotlight on others. And I was very rare to take credit or to allow myself the recognition that, hey, I have things to share as well. Now, being seen also means being visible. And you have to have a certain amount of confidence to do that. And I really wanted to do that because my limiting experiences in past, I don't say limiting beliefs, we talk about limiting experience in this course, because beliefs come from things you've experienced. They're not just things you've pulled out of thin air. I can teach you about that too. So in order to embrace your strengths and who you are, even your weaknesses, I say that with quotations because I don't think we really are weak. I think we just have different areas where it's easier for us to shine in. But we can pursue our aspirations with courage and self-assurance. We're not worried about rejection as much. We're not worried about making a fool of ourselves or what if people are watching. We're sort of like, no, I'm blazing a trail. And when I'm confident and when I'm empowered to take the steps I need to, then that inspires other people, including the people in your life. that you want to feel your light. One of the things that I have received is stronger relationships, so closer relationships with friends and family. I have fallen in love for the first time in a long time in a very healthy relationship, probably the healthiest relationship I've ever had in my entire life. And why that is because I've had a healthy relationship with myself. And that lays the foundation for me to have healthier interpersonal connections, because I'm not going into things with judgment. I'm not going into conversations with fear or anxiety. I'm going in with curiosity and love. So this is empathy, effective communication, conflict resolution, learning that we cannot change other people, but we can have influence in a healthy way. And practicing establishing boundaries and again, that support and those deeper connections. And I don't mean boundaries like walls. I just mean boundaries like you understand what your worth is, and you won't allow certain things to happen, and you won't allow other people to tell you it's your fault if they treat you poorly. So codependency, no more. And then of course you're going to feel, if you're having great relationships and you're feeling really great about yourself, and you're practicing a lot of things in your life that make you feel good, and you feel like you have purpose, well, you get to feel better. You actually feel better too. So you get more excited and you feel joy and happiness. And what happens is when we're fulfilled, then we really tap into creativity. And creativity is very important. Imagination is very important. We have two sides to our brain. One is logic and reason. One is creativity. But when we put them together and we learn to activate both sides of our brain, boom, supercomputer of happiness and innovation and excitement and inspiration. And you just become like on fire in such a good way. So how it works is the first month is just realigning. So when we start, your first session is individual with me. And what we're going to do is we're going to establish a starting point. We're going to take a baseline inventory, because it's not like my whole life is bad. No. We all have some things that actually we are really good for us. And maybe we need to pay a little more attention to them. But honestly, there are things all of us have that we could say like, okay, that's okay. Right? Like that I don't need to put too much focus on. And what we do is really get into what you're experiencing life as today. What's lifting you up, what's knocking you off. And hopefully you guys can see this. I'm getting a little warning sign. But just so you can get reacquainted lovingly with all the versions of you from past until now. So it's really just a reflection and evaluation. And this is where we go through, it's the Wheel of Non-Food Nourishment, and it's a tool that I got in school. And basically we go through the 4 different areas of non-food nourishment. Each of those are broken into 3. And what we do is we sort of measure where we're at, where we want them to be, where they've been in past. And then what that gives us is it gives us an idea of really what we want things to look like. And also, what are we actually doing right now? So it's not just about what are we doing wrong, what do I need to change, what do I need to stop doing. It's actually not about that at all. It's about learning how to continue to grow the things that are working for us and start integrating tools to help us feel more seen, loved, and respected in the areas that we need to be building up and bolstering in ourselves. So that's number 1, realign. So just a realignment, a calibration, just like where are we at, where do we want to go, possibly. And then Realive My Body is month 2. So this is the first source of non-food nourishment. So this is, for this section, body is going to be a lot about embodiment. So it's going to be a lot about feeling things in our bodies, how to translate emotions to physical sensations, how to find the correlation between our physical sensations and the things that we think nowadays. So again, getting into those limiting experiences that we've had and really learning to tune into our body, because our body is amazing, and it tells us so much about what we need to know, but we think we have to intellectualize everything. We think we need to just understand it with our brain, and we can talk about things sometimes, and sometimes we're really smart and self-aware, and we can intellectualize ourselves out of a paper bag, but this is one area where you actually have to, you will not see progress until you integrate your body into the experience of healing and health and well-being. So that's also why it's wholeness coaching, because we tend to live in our heads, but we have a whole body, and our body generates 80% of the thoughts we think. 80% of the thoughts we think are things that we have physically experienced with our body. It's really, really important. So that first month is really getting back in tune and learning to connect the mind, the soul back with the body so that we are aware and we know how to feed our body. We know how to listen to our body, and we start to foster the intuition again that our body gives us. And that's going to include things that we do with food, with movement, and just with, again, focusing on embodiment, feeling our body. It sounds crazy. It's absolutely true. Then the next month we get into our spirit. So this is where we look at joy, spirituality, creativity. We learn how to cultivate joy. We learn how to exercise our creative abilities. And creative doesn't necessarily mean like art or music. It can mean a whole lot of different things. But basically, this is where we get into, these are the things I really believe. These are the behaviors that are really important for me to stay true to the things that I believe in my soul, in my essence. This is when we get back to who we were born as. So we really start to connect the body and the soul together, and we learn so much about ourselves, what we love, how to heal, how to feel ourselves whole, both inside and out. The next month is about my community. And so this is, again, that support system. What's really interesting is one of those under community is actually home environment. So it's not just about relationships and friendships and a social life. It is actually about the environment that we place ourselves in to retreat and sanctuary at home. And believe it or not, that's a really big one. I've worked with some clients and others that when they realized that it was something just out of their home environment and they fixed that, a lot of other things started to flow from there. So the community is community. It's around us. It is relationships and people and getting out and touching grass and being in the world. But it is also about the way we have community with ourselves. Are we setting up our environment the way we would if we were setting it up for a loved one? Okay. And then the last month is about purpose. So this could be a career, it could be education, it could be just your life purpose. It doesn't necessarily have to mean work. But now that we feel great, we have support, we understand our body, we know how to listen to what we need, we know how to feed ourselves well, mind, body, and spirit, we feel whole. Well, guess what? Now we can go chase some dreams and goals. And this is where we get into how do we figure out what it is now that we do with this inspiration and all this energy and excitement, and what kind of things fit us based on our strengths. I also am a certified career and employment counselor. So if that is something if people want to go down and even talk about how do I change careers, not saying you're going to want to change careers by the time you get to the end of this program. You'll probably settle much more happily in the one you already have. But if you want specific coaching in that area, that is also something that we can do as part of the program. And then finally is the setting goals, the creating actions, and solidifying the practice that make most sense for you to continue on the journey. So it's really about, now that we know all these tools, how do we continue to integrate? What are we learning as we do? Because everything will provide you with new insights and learning, and on you go, and it's going to be incredible. And what I think I will do actually is once a month have a group call for anyone that has finished a cohort. So in the beginning, as we start rolling out these cohorts and these programs of 6 months, it'll be just those monthly check-in calls afterwards, like, how's everybody doing? How's my family? How's community? It might be small, but it'll grow as more people go through the program. And then what I hope my vision for that is for there to be just a really amazing community of people that are just giving life their best shot. Super excited about it. So I hope that makes sense. So every month you get group sessions and you get a coaching session with me. You're going to get a workbook. You're going to get daily community guidance. So there's different things that we'll put out into a community for you. You're going to get a weekly email with self-guided materials, different things. And plus you can reach me as much as you need to. So text, email, come find me, private message me. So that's how that works. There's a lot of different tools and things that we're going to use in there. The regular price for this program is $3,000 plus GST for in Canada. So if you're dialing in from the States or somewhere else, you can, it'll just be $3,000 Canada. And you can have different payments as well. And you can pay by Interact or credit card or e-transfer. Doesn't matter. What I'll do is I just put together a little service agreement, just a little contract, send it to you with all the details. And how to enroll. You can fill in the application form, which is on my website. So I'm going to go here now. So if you fill in this little form here, so just a little Google form, and you fill that in as best as you can. This is not a commitment. It just basically shares what you're thinking. And then I always do a 15-minute call with anyone that applies, just to make sure it is the right step for you. I don't want you to spend money or make a commitment if it's just not quite there, and if there's something that you need beforehand. So it's really just making sure that I'm the right fit for you, and that this program is the best step for you, because it is a bit of an investment, both time and money wise. I think it will be, because I tend to think it's pretty awesome. It's helped my life, that's for sure. But I will make sure with you. So don't feel like if you fill in the application and then you change your mind, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. So get the information, get in touch with me, learn more about it. So on the website, risethrive.ca, there is that. There is also, I'm going the wrong way here. There is also the brochure here and some more information. I go through what each of the 4 non-food nourishments are, so you can take a look through those. Also in the group and on my Facebook and Instagram page, I have put different graphics with more details on each of those sources of non-food nourishment. So each one has 3 subcategories. So for instance, career will be finances, education, and career, like work. So there's different, they're broken down into more, and that's what we go through, and we go through practical exercises for each of those. If you don't want to fill in the form, but you would like to learn more or have questions, you can book a free consultation here, absolutely free. And then there's a little testimony from someone that has done a lot of this work with me before, our awesome Danielle, who actually, she doesn't mind me sharing her story, so I do often, but when she started with me, she started because she was experiencing some health symptoms. And basically what we did is when we got to doing the assessment, what we learned was the one thing that she had really been missing, and the thing that had given her a lot of joy in life was exercise. And it wasn't something she was doing, so we started putting together a plan. She did all the work. She had all the answers. I just helped guide her through it. And now today, just a few years later, she's her own fitness coach. So she's a personal trainer. So she didn't just start. She started by just walking 15 minutes at lunch. And then it was running a race, a 5K race. And then it was like, oh, I love exercise so much. And now she has this beautiful business of her own called Fearless Fitness. And she's amazing. So check her out as well. So she's my little testimony there. She's a dream. She is amazing. So her and I both tell you this works. And yeah, again, it's an investment, but it's an investment in the most important person in your life, you. Yeah, I mean, a long time ago, I used to be in an MLM called Mary Kay Cosmetics, pretty famous. But I didn't join because I wanted to do multi-level marketing. I didn't join because I really love makeup, although I do. I did it because I really love Mary Kay Ash. And one of the things she always said was, I don't care how people get involved with my company, whether it's through as a client, as someone who just notices us, as a consultant, and it doesn't matter to me if you're here for a lifetime, a season, or just a reason. I just hope that however we touch you, that you are left in better shape for it, that we have left something positive with you. And that's really a value that I like to take into my own business. Yeah, a lot of people say that it doesn't really work for business that way, but I am really, really like that. I really do believe I just want people to have what they need. I believe everybody has the right to take up space, to feel good about themselves, to have more belief in themselves, even when the world is sending them contradictory messages. The world is hard. It's just a hard world. And we need people that are light bringers, that are supportive, that allow us to just be ourselves exactly as we want to be. And at any point in time, if we wish to change that, we can. The only person we need to really, really make happy is ourselves. And when we do that, we tend to make the world a happier place. So I love you guys. I hope you check it out. So please, if you have any questions, I know I spoke very fast, and that is a sign that I'm super excited. And any of you, yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So please reach out if you have questions, and yeah, can't wait to talk to you. So August 7th is going to be kickoff, so we have time. There is still time, so take a look at the materials, give me a shout, book your consultation, or fill in the application, and then I'll be in touch and we'll have your consult call. All right? I love you. Whoever you are. Oh, Danielle, I love you too. I love you so much. So anyways, you guys, you have an amazing, amazing night, and hopefully I'll be meeting with a lot of you in the next week or so.